Welcome to Tentative Title with Tim. This is a podcast about creativity, about process, about filmmaking, and about screenwriting. Welcome everybody to the show. Today's topic is about something that all of us have as artists, and that is the dormant idea. It is something that is unavoidable. If you are continually working on ideas, you're always going to have something that is going to be left in your hard drive or on your shelf that will never really make it to the next step. And I have a story about this, but not in that it didn't get made, but that it actually did get made, and I had not intended for it to get made, if that makes any sense. So back in 2005, I had this idea about a screenwriter who is wallowing in misery in the middle of the night because he has a deadline in the morning to turn in a script, and he has nothing. And he's so depressed, and he's stressed out, and he just doesn't know what to do. And then he has been having a lot of coffee, and so he goes to the bathroom. And while he's on the toilet, he comes up with the answer, the idea, the thing that he was trying to get to all this time. And it's a comedy about how he tries to keep that idea in his mind while the circumstances around him are falling apart and he's not able to actually get to writing the idea. Or the whole thing is that you try to see if he actually will get to it. And that was the basic concept, and I'd written a script for it, and I had an idea about what I wanted to do with it, and some of the elements were, comedic, like in bizarre ways, and I thought, eventually I'll get to this script, but right now it just seems out of my reach. I don't know how to do it effectively. I need to do a few more films before I could actually get to this film. So I put it away. I wrote some other stuff, and those things also, remained either unfinished or on the shelf. But I went to film school. I got more confident with filmmaking. I made some stuff in film school, including my senior thesis film. And then I graduated, and I was out in the world to do whatever I wanted. And I started to not only work with fellow classmates that I'd worked on other projects with in school, but I had also worked with some people who I'd known since before film school when I was in theater. And we kind of came together as this sort of mesh of a collective and a production company called Full 88 Films. And we were looking for projects to produce. And we were looking for small projects to produce, something that could be done really fast, minimal characters, one location. And I had this idea just sitting on my hard drive, and suddenly when we were pitching ideas to each other, I remembered I had a finished script on my hard drive, and I said, guys, I have a story that fits the criteria of what we're trying to do. Let me send it to you and see what you think. And I did, and they got back to me and they said, yeah, this is exactly like what we should do. This is great. The script still needs some work because there are certain things in it that we can't do at this moment, but the concept is great. Let's revise the script to something that we can actually do in a weekend. And so that kind of came out of nowhere. I just had this script sitting around for 10 years, and at that moment, it was the moment to make that script. And if I would have made it before that, I don't think I would have done as well with it. And I had a great team behind me. I had great actors. It was a very fun set to be on, even though we only shot for 2 days. But you know, it was a great jumping in point to be able to direct something that I had written again, and to see what that was like to do it out in the world, where I didn't have to deliver it for a class. I just had to finish it to put out into the world to promote, you know, the production company. And so that's something that I wanted to encourage everybody out there, is that yes, we have ideas that have been sitting on our shelf for years, possibly decades, and I don't want you to lose hope on those stories. Now, I got to put this in context of where we are now with this pandemic, and a lot of things have changed. A lot of rules that we have to follow. The way in which we film anything nowadays is completely different. And so to have a script that you're very proud of that has been on your shelf, I want to encourage you that maybe it won't be put into production as it is now, but this is an opportunity to take that story and then turn it into a radio play or a podcast or into another form that still gets that story out, and that story no longer sits on your shelf. How do you do that? Well, I guess it depends on the kind of story that you're trying to write. And it's going to be a challenge, because putting a story that you've set your sights on as being very visual, now changing the format of it is going to be a challenge. But there has actually been a script that Fully 88 Films has been working on for a couple years now. We've been going through drafts, and when the pandemic hit, we had to look at that script and we had to rethink how we were going to do it. And now it's been adapted into a radio play, and that's something that we really want to get going and to produce episodes for. So it is possible that there is some idea that was sitting on your shelf that in its current form would be really expensive to film, would be really out of your league in terms of being able to put it together in the right way. But when you change the format to a more radio-based, then it's way more feasible, and it gets that story out there. And then depending on what happens in the future, if we're able to go back into production in a way that's closer to how it was before the pandemic, then you already have a proof of concept of what your story is, and you might even be able to sell that story to a producer, and you know, you might be in a better boat than you were before this, because you took that story from off the shelf and you adapted it to the needs of today, and now it's a perfect vehicle to promote the story and to prove that it's something that works in an audio form. And you also have a visual script, you have a screenplay to go with it. So that's all I have for today. I really just wanted to, help us kind of get out of, if you're in any kind of like, I don't want to say despair necessarily, but this area where you feel stuck. I know I've been feeling that way a lot. It's hard to tell what to invest time into in terms of stories and developing scripts because things are so up in the air. And being able to adapt stories into an audio format is a challenge for me as well. I am struggling with it because I really want what I've written to be in the visual form that I originally wrote it in. But I mean, you got to adapt to the times. You got to adapt to what's going on, and this is where we are. And one day that screenplay could become a film, but at the moment it's going to have to be something else if I wanted to get out into the world. So I wanted to thank all you guys for listening, and wear the masks, so wash the hands, and share this podcast, tell other people about it. I'm trying to get better at this, and I'm trying to bring some perspective that it I hope adds to this experience of being a low budget filmmaker and growing in my skills as a filmmaker. And this is a team sport, so all of us are kind of contributing to the health and the well-being of this industry surviving. And we got to just keep going. So until next time, thank you everybody, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye.